Huh?
No, go ahead.
Look kind of rough.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Like, did he really just get on here like that?
It's too late now. They didn't see. They didn't see. I don't even know where my hat at, and I don't have my shirt on. So look, we're talking about love. How the song go? Anyway, you start off. I started off last week.
No, this is your topic.
It's been my topic every week. Every week you say the same thing.
Statistics, though, yeah, Jermaine, since I had to do all the other stuff.
You should have did that before then.
You know what?
I'm gonna start off this week.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I did it last week, and the week before, and the week before. You say the same thing, and you can go back and look at every one. It says the same thing all the time.
Really?
You can read. I mean, you say the same thing all the time. You can read the statistics while you're writing.
I can't. Let me finish writing this at least.
Well, you should have did that before you signed on.
Jermaine, I'm serious. I'm not playing on.
Okay. Well, we're gonna sit here in silence. Let's take a moment of silence.
Now you're gonna piss me off.
It's better to be pissed off than pissed on. At least that's what they say.
It's your. I don't even know what you were thinking about when you came with the topic. So can you at least say what you were thinking about when you came with the topic?
Love.
Okay, so what about love?
Everything about love. That's the part. That's the topic. Everything about love. Why it's so great. Why it's so bad. Can you love more than one person at a time? Just love. Everything that the word is meant to be. Why does love fail? Why is love great? Why is love bad? Everything about it. Let's discuss it. So there.
Okay. So can you love two people at one time? Since you want to be an ass, and so you got me saying stuff on this show that I'm going to be saying.
Can you love two people at one time? We're talking about from a standpoint of relationships. I absolutely, wholeheartedly say no. You can't. Because one of the people, yeah, you're right. We have talked about that before. But one of the people are going to be missing some type of time, or even if you love, no, you can't love two people because you can't give yourself to two people at one time. So that's why I say no, you can't love two people at one time. Also, how can you, unless you meet two people at the exact same time, in the exact same moment, it's impossible, because if you honestly love somebody, how do you allow yourself to get close to someone else? So that's my answer.
Really?
Yes. You can't love two people at one time. Want to know why else?
Why?
Because when you think about the word love, that's what I'm talking about. What does love entail?
You tell me.
You tell me. I said all I'm gonna say. You have to go.
Okay. So anyway, I was writing some things, and Jermaine.
She can't speak.
I don't understand why you would come up with a topic and then not do some research or something on it, because that doesn't make sense. Because otherwise, you wouldn't have anything to talk about. Like you just don't.
I got plenty to talk about.
Okay, well then, because I'm trying to come up with. Listen to me about what on your topic. It's your topic.
So it's my topic. So then, what you even doing here? You go upstairs then, and I'll take over.
I'm just saying, it's your thing. So I don't even know what you mean. Like you just saying, like love.
When you say the word love, what comes to your mind?
Okay, how about we go this route? So people marry for love because, according to
that falls under the love topic.
Jacqueline Kennedy, the first time you marry should be for love. The second time for money, and the third time for companionship. Wow. So, should people always marry for love? Is love the reason why people should be getting married? I'm asking you.
That's a simple answer. Yes. Like all it is. Well, I think to love someone, you have to be looking for some type of companionship, I guess. When we're talking about from a relationship standpoint. So two of those things never really made sense. First time and the only time I ever heard that said was when my cousin said it. Number one, who wants to get married 3 times? Whatever. So when you marry somebody, it should be for love and companionship, I don't really know about the money aspect. Money has never really necessarily played a part. Love and money is different. So my answer to your question is yes. That's the only reason you should marry somebody, because you love them, because you are in love, because you love them, and then you fell in love with them. That is the absolutely only reason that you should marry somebody. And I don't see how, unless death. You can marry somebody more than once. I would say somebody can get married 3 times. I just don't. I don't see how. I know they do, and I just said I don't see.
Especially wealthy people, which is interesting.
Well, because that's because of the money aspect. That really shouldn't make a difference, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, look, here's some interesting statistics, right? So in 2013, when research was conducted by Pew Research, they said that among married people, 93% of them say that love is a very important reason to get married. And 84% of unmarried people said that love was a reason to get married. Now, this is in 2013, right? So in 2013, these people are saying the majority of people believe that love is a reason to get married, right? Now, if you fast forward that, though, to several years later, there's another survey that says, let me look it up. That 56% of Americans want a partner who provides financial security more than head over heels love. So you've gone from, if we talk about just the single people, you've gone from 84% of unmarried people saying, hey, love is an important factor, to now 56% of people saying, hey, financial security is more important than basically head over heels love. And the only generation, the only cohort that actually ranked love above money was Gen Z. Those people born between 1996 and 2010. And they were at 54%. So it wasn't a whole lot, but they were the only cohort that actually said, okay, no, love is more important than money.
So by listening to that, what I hear is the transitioning of I'm not all with this Gen Z and Gen X and all that, but it's the transition of from the, what you say, 90 what was it, 94 I think you said,
about the percentage of people.
Yeah,
84% of
no
people.
What years you said?
So 2000, Gen Z, yeah, 1996 to,
okay, that's all you have to say. So I graduated in 95. So what started happening was the decline of relationships and beliefs in society. From that point on, started changing into the place where it is today. And of course, it's steps by steps. So that would make sense that it goes from that. And I'm pretty sure if you go back further than that, most people would say love. Love is the number one factor, this, that, and the third.
If you go back further
than 96, like
no, but
hold on. Oh, okay. From the 80s and this, that, and the third, because people based their relationships on love. It wasn't I'm money hungry. I don't want to say money hungry, but it wasn't about money.
Okay.
Right. So after I graduated, and from that time to now, I've seen the changes in society, women and men as well, with this war that we got going on at this particular time. But with the changes in society and people getting heartbroken because of these changes and this, that, and the third, it also changed that. Well, if I got to deal with a man that's da 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 da, or a woman that's yada yada yada, let me get this from them. And it all went to material and financial aspects of it. So I would believe those numbers, because that's where we're at today. So it was a process of people going from believing in love. They stopped believing in love, and started worrying about the money aspect. And I vividly remember how, because I did it a lot, tried to flash money to get women. So when you flash money, and I'm talking about from a male perspective, when you flash money to get women, the type of women that you get is going to be the ones about money, right?
Right.
And when that works with a woman, when that works with women back to back. So you're gonna flash money to you, flash money to her, and all of them is gonna flock to that. Mm-hmm. And then you start hurting these women mm-hmm. and cheating on them and doing all this stuff. They find out that you got money, so then they start looking for dudes. So then they start looking for guys that just have money, and then they do away with I want the emotional or the love aspect of the whole thing, because now it's all about money.
Yeah, but hi Kurt, are you? Yeah, but that still doesn't make sense as to why Gen Z, those born between 1996 and 2010, I believe said, why they, even though it's a little bit, are still saying
because
they're the only. It said in this study, it said they're, and I'm looking at Psychology Today, you all, but in this study it said they're the only cohort who said that put love over money. Because think about,
you said born between 96 and 2010, right?
Right.
That means that's basically our children from our generation, right. Which we would be, again, that's when the decline has started happening. But that's when we, the older, the 40, whatever age we are, was still kind of pushing that into our kids a little bit. I mean, we were.
Yeah, but wouldn't they be the ones that's more cynical about it, though? I would think, because if you're talking about our kids, so you're talking about Zariah's age. What? Yes, because Micah's born 95, Zariah's born 97. So you're talking about Malachi even. So you're saying that cohort of kids, though, who should be the most cynical about love, are the only ones from our age to back to my sister's them age, back to. They're the only cohort that's saying love is more important than money. Like that, to me is crazy.
So what was the 84%? Who was that?
That was from 2013. So this study in Psychology Today is a more recent study. So the 2013 one was saying, okay, no, unmarried people are saying, hey, 84% of unmarried people know love is very important. It's declined from that to the Gen Z basically being the only cohort. And if 54% of them are saying, and they're considered the only cohort who said love was more important than money, then everybody else has to be way lower than that. I mean, lower than that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, what was the divorce rate at that time? Which time? The 2013 or the time of this last study with Psychology Today? But that's what I'm saying. Like, that is, to me, is crazy. Like, because you would think that they would be the ones that are cynical. If you think about it, right? I mean, I would think they would be the ones that's more likely to be like, no, we're not marrying for love. We're marrying for money.
I get it, but I still think it has to do with the type of parents that we are. Because even with the comment right there, it started with Beyonce. Yeah, that's true. But even right here, right, with this comment, mm-hmm. And I'm not attacking you, Kurt. It says today women are looking for the easy come up. That's why guys are not serious about relationships. So whenever that ideology started coming about, mm-hmm. is the shift in all of that to me. And what I mean by that is people stop looking at relationships for love and for the financial aspect of it. And I'm not just going to say only women as well, because there's some guys out here that target women with money for easy come up in as well. But what I will say is people have that shift when people started making songs talking about broke dudes don't deserve no coochie and all of that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, it's fun. Like you said, that age group, I just think that it's what you said. No, I don't know. It's a shift in the society and the mentality, though. I know that. I will say that wholeheartedly, because everything has went to a financial aspect. Because
I think that, I mean, part of what you're saying, I think is correct, because maybe the Gen Z were still raised around those parents.
That's what I'm saying.
That were saying, so like, even though you have society that plays a role in it, which may show why the number is so narrow as far as 54%, you still have the majority of those Gen Z who are raised around maybe parents who got married
and
for
because
love. But yet then that would mean that the parents who got married for love are now more cynical than their kids about love. If that's the case. But it could be because they've been through more stuff now. So the parents they're around our age, they've been through more stuff than the Gen Zs. Like my daughter, she hasn't been through anything.
So let me say this to add to that, right? Going back to what you said, raised around the parents, because if you look at it, I would say around our age, 95-ish, born in the 70s, those was the last time that I remember. I mean, you still got it scattered now of parents being together and your grandparents being together for 30 and 40 and 50 years and stuff like that. Right? So those was our age with our grandparents, and we seen that. I would like to know the divorce rate for real, because
the divorce rate, that's what I was gonna say. The divorce rate though among the Gen Z, now get this. The divorce rate has decreased by 40%. In 2024, the divorce rate of Gen Zs have decreased by 40%, from 47 to 27 divorces per 1,000 people. The millennials have dropped by 30% over the years. And they're the ones that's 25 to 34. So it's like,
I'll say this as well.
Yeah, cable TV.
I'll say this as well too, because here's the thing, right? You know why it's dropped? Because people ain't getting married like that. So of course the numbers would be lower. I don't think people getting married like that anymore.
Well, I that's what I was thinking too. But no, they're talking about divorce. So they're studying the people who's actually been married, right? But they're also saying the marriage rate for Gen Z in 2003 was 66%.
Definitely got to find something.
It increased, actually.
And for what?
It increased. So even though they're getting married at an older age, their divorce rates are dropping.
Well, that's probably why though, because they're getting married at an older age. Like,
yeah, but then when they say older, they mean like instead of people getting married between 22 and 4 years old, they get married at 25, 29.
Oh yeah, we'll throw that one out the window.
Yeah,
but I don't know. That's kind of weird. That's definitely kind of weird. And as far as finding someone with the same values, that's kind of even hard in this day and time, because of how the ideology of love in relationships have what it had maturated into, and what people believe that, people be like F love now. Just either F me or let me see what I can get from that person.
This is what's interesting. Now, this is something else that may be impacting it, because when I was trying to do this research, and next time I'll take more time, I'll start researching in a couple of days ahead. But what I could find, I skipped over an article. I didn't get a chance to read it, but one of the articles said that the people are not marrying for love. They're marrying the first person. I think they were being cynical, but they're sarcastic, but they're saying they're basically just going on date, and the first person that seemed to have some of their same things or whatever, they just marrying that person. They're not really marrying for love. And maybe there's a desperation aspect to it. I didn't get a chance to see what age group of people were doing that, being that I think a lot of women start to, I don't want to say not panic, but a lot of women who actually have marriage as a goal start to, they're willing to accept less. I think at the older they get.
Being alone.
Yeah, so I think they start accepting less, and actually the same may be true for men, because surprisingly, I saw something else. I'm sorry, I was looking up stuff, y'all, but I saw another thing that talked about men, and I was really surprised at that. It said that let me see if I can find it. That men basically were the ones that crave romance. That's what it was. The men, 33% more men than women around the world says it bothers them that their significant others aren't romantic. And that 48% of men, that's what I was looking at, 48% of men compared to 28% of women fall in love at first sight. So that may be the explanation for it, right? Because At the end of the day, a woman wants a man that loves her, because they got that saying going around is that you should never love a man more than he love you. I don't even know what that. I mean, I guess I get what they mean, but it doesn't make sense to me at all, right? But you have that saying going around. So if I'm a woman and I'm getting older,
I hope you are a woman.
No, I'm being, if as a woman, if I'm getting older and I'm not married and I subscribe to that type of thinking and I see, oh, well, this man loves me, even though I may not feel exactly the same about him, let me go ahead and marry him.
Now, I wonder how many of those
because he's going to treat me well.
But I wonder how many of those are older men too, because it a lot of times, of course, we mature at a slower rate, but a lot of times when you become older and you realize that, oh, I've been out here doing this, that, and the third for the longest. Now you begin to try to find the one to be with or to marry or whatever the case may be. So I wonder how much that attributes to the romance part where men fall in love at first sight and things like that. Because I really don't think that I can't see a guy 25 years old, I ain't gonna say all guys, but most 25, 26-year-olds seeing a woman and being in love just immediately. Oh, she got a, whatever, and this, that, and the third. So I wonder how much of that study is attributed to the age as well. Because I can honestly, well, I don't say honestly, I can say this honestly. I can tell you now, from the first time I got married at 26 to me marrying you at 40, whatever I was, we've been married, whatever, 3 years,
almost
so
3 years.
43-ish, 44-ish. From me marrying you, then there is no way in hell I was ready to be married at 26.
Right.
I didn't even know what I was really looking for at 26.
Right.
But at 43-ish or whatever, marrying you, it's a total different mindset. I had more ideal of what I was looking for and how I wanted to be and how I need, like we just talked to Isis about how I needed to be in a marriage. Still not understanding marriage thoroughly, but what I needed to be a better man, where I wasn't even capable of thinking about that at 26. Anything that walked by, it was like, oh, she looked good. Oh, she got a big whatever. She has big. Oh, she's beautiful. And it was more of a sex thing.
Yeah.
So at 40, and even at my age now, I could say that I know it's a lot of men that still out there probably doing that as an older man. But I would think that most older men, and I'll say, I'm sad to say, I'll say 35 and up. I think we should probably be getting it at 35-ish. Would be the age where you start maturing and like, yo, life is starting to slow down. You're starting to get more accomplished and trying to accomplish your goals, and now you want to live your life with that person,
right?
And finding that person at that time, I just think that contributes. I can see somebody 35 plus falling in love more at love at first sight than a younger person.
And that's true.
So
I agree with that. As men hide a lot of our feelings. That's true too.
But we talked about that one time before as well, hiding our feelings. And I'm a big advocate of this. Society says that men can't be emotional, because for whatever reason, our testosterone always have to be on 600,000, and we always have to walk around and show that we're a manly man. The being emotional and letting your feelings go, I'll say it that way to speak on the topic, to letting your feelings go. You should easily be able to let your feelings go to your partner once you realize that's who you want to be with, because those feelings and those emotions that you have is only for your partner. That doesn't mean you can't go out here and be a macho man or be a manly man or whatever it is. If your partner hurts, you should be hurting. If you love them. If your partner is crying, it's okay that you cry with your partner. That doesn't make you less than a man. It doesn't make you not a man or whatever. But society says to us, doing those type of things, you're soft or whatever the case may be. Well, toxic masculinity, absolutely. So sometimes you need to be soft especially as a man, for your woman. And that's why I think that hiding our feelings come from. That's something I even had to work on in our marriage because uh, I'm not gonna say necessarily hiding my feelings, because I've always been kind of emotional, but it was expressing myself better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, but that's what we as men need to work on anyway to get away from the toxic masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when you really, in my opinion, tap into deeper love.
Yeah.
Tap into, because like how many times have I told you when you're sad, it just mess me up.
Yeah.
Mess me up all the time. I could literally, and I would have never thought if I would have been sitting on the other side of this computer hearing me say this, I'd have been like, dude, you full of shit. Mm-hmm. Just basically. But when she's bothered, hurt, not feeling like having the best day, it literally throws my mood off. I literally feel, not all the time, I'm not sitting here saying all the time, but the majority of the time, I feel what she's going through. And that was because I was able to allow my feelings to show. But that now, on the same token, to show you the masculinity part, how many times we've been in a club and somebody then touched you or something, and I pop their hand or be like, yo, get away from my wife. Mm-hmm. So I'll still beat somebody up or fight somebody to protect her if I have to. But in our own private setting, when my feelings are out, I don't have. You shouldn't ever hide your feelings from somebody that you truthfully love.
That's true, and that's funny because that you mentioned that because if this survey is correct, and most surveys are, I mean, a lot of surveys are, they're kind of right on depending on how they conduct the numbers and everything. But and then if they're anonymous, right? So if they're anonymous and and the person doesn't have to put their name and they just say whether they male or female, they even tend to be more accurate or more truthful. But that's crazy because like you have 33% more men than women saying it bothers them a lot that their significant other isn't more romantic. So when you look at that with the fact that men are being told they can't be emotional, how many men are actually communicating this to their spouse? And at the same time, how many of their spouses are sitting here saying, I wish he'd be more romantic when he's actually craving romance too?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
But because he's a man, I mean, you know what I'm saying? He's only going to go so far with it.
So, yeah, you're right. Again, that hiding your feelings and not letting your emotions go, it curves that.
Yeah.
It definitely curves that. I can see that. I can definitely understand that. So, I don't know. The word love is, and how I came up with this, even thinking about the word love, is actually because if you want to know the truth, mm-hmm. while we was in the kitchen, and I was like, man, I'm so thankful I have you as a wife. Like, I really love her. And then I started thinking of other things and other ways, literally, that I could try to figure out something else to do to show you how much I love you, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I was like, man, love, it entails a lot. Like, it's so many different variety of the word love. Mm-hmm. Like, you could be in love with somebody, you could just love somebody. I love my children, but I don't love them like I love you. Like, the word love is so broad. It's wide. And it's sort of like the brain. We don't tap into all of our brain, and mm-hmm. I don't think people tap into all aspects of love.
Yeah.
So, and that's and again, that's what made me think of it. So, like, when you ask me, like, elaborate on like what part, like, how do you elaborate on something so big?
So yeah, and the funny thing is that you mentioned that because before we talked about this, and I had looked up some research, it was stating that a lot of people get divorced, right, because they think they have fallen out of love with each other. Because, and I talked to you about this before, because they were saying, oh, well, since I don't have that feeling anymore, we don't love each other. There's something bad going on in our marriage. And a lot of people actually end up divorced like that because they're so focused on just that one part of love, which is like you said, so many aspects to it, but they're so focused on that emotional part, that feeling part of love, that they've totally forgot everything else that it encompasses. They've forgotten the whole fact of the action behind love. They've forgotten that if and we talked about, I don't know when, a couple of weeks ago when we defined love, when they said love is a bunch of actions that develop an emotional bond. If you think about it this way, those same people who think that they've fallen out of love, don't realize that you can spark it back. You can spark your love and everything back by engaging in these love actions that helps to re-strengthen your emotional bond.
I would have never thought about what I'm getting ready to say until you said the spark back. It goes back to what I just said, love being so broad.
Mm-hmm.
Before I even said, love being so broad. And what happens is because you honestly, truthfully love that person,
mm-hmm.
which that's why that spark comes back up, right?
Yep.
So, but what I do see is when, you know how we talked about before, if people break up and they get back together and can get remarried, I think what happens, and it's sad that has to happen because people don't technically understand. What happens is they probably, like you said, think they've fallen out of love, and then, you know, not that they just want to go be with somebody else, but then they go out there and start, and you can speak to that a little bit, go out there and start dating other people, and then realize like, yo, that's not it.
Right.
Like, you know, why y'all like this? And I'm used to this, and, you know, and it makes the nostalgia of your relationship come back. So if on that token, this is the broad view of love that I'm talking about, y'all get back together, it's going to make you appreciate that person and what the love that they have and had shown you prior, and then y'all coming back together more.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's what I'm saying when I say it's so broad.
It is.
It's so broad. Now, what do you have to do to tap into that, to get that person to appreciate and understand the love, to make you feel, to make you understand that you're not out of love? Is just a moment in time.
But that's why you see a lot of those divorce, the counselors and coaches, what they'll start off by doing is have them engage in acts of love. Like, do this for your partner today. Do this for your partner today. Because again, it's those acts that help develop that emotional bond, right? And if you think of it, like you're talking about love and the emotional bond, that is the truest definition of the word love. If it's not nurtured, how strong is that bond going to remain? Everything has to be nurtured, because the longer you're away from stuff, the easier it is to be more desensitized to the loosened detached bond, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So like, if you're bonded to something, but you're without it for a certain amount of time, you may still long for it, but it gets easier over time to be away from it. So like, what happens, I think, is that people stop nurturing that. They stop engaging in those love actions that help to keep that bond in place. And that's why then all of a sudden, when it's like when they don't have that and then the feeling is gone, then they're like, oh, that means I'm no longer in love. Oh, and what people need to be very careful about that, right? Because you can think up and down for a guaranteed fact that you're not in love with your spouse anymore. And then when you, like you said, when you get out, when you separate and you start seeing what's going on out in the world, and you have something that they used to provide all the time, something they used to do for you, and it's no longer there. Then you start thinking about, okay, you know what? That's
and
not
it's the bare minimum stuff too.
Yeah, that's not the case. It was a movie. I think I told you about it I think it was Bruce. I want to say, I can't remember who was in there. What's the actor's name? Michelle Pfeiffer, I think she was one. But it was that movie was about that. It was a couple who had been married for a very long time, and they grew apart. So they thought, we're no longer in love. Got divorced. Like, he would never put the gas in the car or something like that, and it would always irritate her and this and that. But after they separated, and they were separated for a little bit, and like just being out and separate from each other, started to realize like, hey, this is not it.
The crazy part is I seen a video on YouTube. A woman had did a skit, and Michelle Obama said the same thing too. You said you were the first one to say it to me, and I seen it like 2 other times. The woman said she was in a club or something. Went and got a drink, and a dude tried to talk to her, and the dude said, asked her name. She told her her name. Asked could she buy a drink. She said, I'm married. And the dude response is typical what we'll normally say, but are you happily married? And her answer was no. And your point? Like, just because I'm not happily married, what make you think you got a shot? And her point behind that was, you're gonna have ups and downs, though. Mm-hmm. That's gonna come and go. So like, just because I'm not happy at this moment and I'm not happily married at this moment doesn't mean that you have an opportunity. I still love my husband. Mm-hmm. And when you understand it to that degree, it helps. Michelle Obama said the same thing on a show that I was, a talk show she was on. And again, you were the first person that told me. She said, like, it's going to be ebb and flows in a relationship. Yeah. And when you don't feel those butterflies, or you don't feel, damn near your exact words, then you think the love is gone.
Right.
And that's not necessarily the case. Nope. Now, I would have never understood that. I would have never thought about that. I probably, the one, younger me, before I started trying to change, would have been the one like, yeah, this ain't fun no more. Like, yeah, I'm out of here. I want to be happy. Mm-hmm. Right. And what you always told me about happiness.
Happiness is circumstantial.
And so you have to find the joy. Yep. Right. So I would have never thought about it that way. But that's definitely true. Now, if I'm being totally honest, and I get it, we only been married 3 years, been together, 4 basically, right? Mm-hmm. I'm scared. Mm-hmm. And I'm scared because I still have butterflies. And I've told you, I don't ever want my butterflies to go. Mm-hmm. Guys, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. Since the day I spent the night at her house, I've never left. From day one, I've never left. Like, I don't care. Horrible. Like, it didn't sound horrible. You're my wife. Like, I spent the night, and I've been staying there ever since until we got married. So 4 years later, I'm still having butterflies. We spend so much time together, and it's not as bad as it used to be. But if I'm away from her 2 hours, I get cringy. Like, it doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like, when I was on the road driving, and when I say on the road, I would be gone for a day or so. I'll leave today and deliver in the morning, be back tomorrow night, that type of stuff. If she didn't go with me, we stayed on the phone basically the whole time till we went to sleep. And still to the day, if I leave and go somewhere, unless she's in a meeting, we're on the phone all the time. So when I say I'm scared, I don't ever want that to stop. And I wonder, with more of an understanding now, I just don't want that to stop. And what happens, and how am I going to feel if it ever do stop? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's what scares me. I with the understanding of what it is now, I don't know. I don't think I would feel the same way as I would have before.
Right.
But that kind of scares me.
Right.
That literally scares me. So I don't know.
And like most of you all know that Jermaine and I, we do counseling every week, right? Just because it's just beneficial, like overall beneficial. We talk sometimes about our marriage, we sometimes talk about individual issues, all that type of thing.
And then we just be talking.
Sometimes our counselor is kind of cool. She's real cool, y'all.
And that's just sidebar, right? Sidebar. The conversations that we have alone, sometimes when we're talking to the counselor, we just still have those conversations. It's a third person. Mm-hmm. So the counseling is really not necessarily for issues necessarily, right? It's like just having a third person to talk to for whatever it is. And of course, if we have certain issues, we try to get understanding of it too. So anyway, I just said that because we as Black people sometimes believe counseling is worthless. I was one of them as well.
But and we talk about this in counseling, but like Jermaine talked about his fear about that leaving. My fear was the reverse of that. And I told Jermaine this, and I told the counselors, I was like, my fear is because, like, we both have been in the marriages before, but our marriages looked very different, right? So my fear was like, no, I've been in a marriage before. I know that you don't always feel those butterflies. And my fear is that Jermaine doesn't understand this, and that he would immediately think, if he doesn't, that there's something wrong with the relationship. Remember, I told you that.
Yeah.
And that's what my fear was. Like, I was like, I hope he understands that that's not what that means, because I've been there and I know that that's not what it means, right? And so I would always tell him, happiness is situational. Happiness is circumstantial. You can't rely on happiness, because happiness comes and go. what you need to look for, and I always tell him, like, even in life, is joy, right? So if you're looking at joy within your marriage, as opposed to just focus on that happiness, then the joy allows you to see beyond what's making you unhappy. And the joy allows you to look at the person and say, you know what? I'm not really happy in this marriage right now, but I appreciate that they do this for me. I love that they do this for me. I love that they're like this. I love that when I look out in the streets and see how these other women are dressing up, that my wife isn't like that. I love that my husband is not in the streets doing this and this and that. Like, that's what joy allows you to do. It allows you to go past that unhappiness and appreciate those things that you are not going to find most of the time, especially if you've been married a long time, that you're not going to find in other people. Let's be honest. Like, it's going to be really hard if you were with somebody from this age. Even in my situation, if you were somebody from, I was with my first husband
110 years
since I was like 16. I've known him, right? And when you've been with somebody that long, you're not going to go out and find someone that is that person. You're not going to go out and find someone that's going to do all those things for me. I happen to be blessed to come across Jermaine, and then blessed in the fact that Jermaine is one of the people that's like, okay, well, let me try to, these are your expectations. Shut up. You want people to like, these are your expectations. I'm going to work towards meeting those expectations, or I'm going to work towards becoming a better person. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're one of you that was willing to kind of say, okay, this is what we need to do. This is how I need to change. And I'm able to look at you and say, okay, well, because he's willing to do this, then I need to be willing to do this. And you don't find that all the time. And it's very difficult to. So for people who are in these long marriages, or people who are in marriage with people, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't love him anymore, and you don't even try to figure it out before you just leave, that's something that you don't want to do. You definitely want to try to figure it out before you leave, because you're probably going to find out that you do still love that person.
Or you think that you don't love them, and maybe first of all, I told her this too, right? She was married for however long she was married, very long time. And this may sound crazy to some of y'all. When you're married, how long you was married?
Over 18 years, I think.
When you're married that long to somebody, that man, it is going to take me 18 plus years to know her like he does, although she has changed from that marriage to this marriage, right? So you don't stop, especially if it's not a bad relationship, abuse and cheating and yada, yada, yada. You don't stop loving somebody. You cannot be in love with them, right? So I'll be an ass. I'll be asinine to sit here and think that she don't have a love for him. And I'm not talking about a relationship love. Again, the word love is so broad. She got 8 kids by him. They were together for 93 years, whatever it was. So she's always going to have some type of love for him. Again, I know it's not a relationship type of love. It's a kid's father, it's an ex-husband, they forever together, right? I'm saying all of that to say, I was married for 15 years, and our marriages, like she said, was totally different. Because all I did was cheat, lie. My butterflies went away after 2 years. I didn't think that I was, I didn't think at that point, I was in love anymore. Just a whole list of things. So when you're like that, prime example, I'm just going to stay on me. When you're like that, and then even in my marriage, I was trying to have other relationships, and that's totally wrong. Anyway, God's not going to bless a mess, but let's just take that part out of it. Even in dealing with the people that I was dealing with, what I was recognizing was, they don't have the qualities that she have, because I'm looking for the qualities out of these other women that my ex-wife had, except I was looking for one more quality, and everything was all wrong with them. And it was like, well, damn, I like, what the hell do I have at home? You know what I mean? Like, so, but I had did so much damage. It was just, I wasn't able to fix it. I wouldn't have been able to fix it anyway. So I'm saying all that to say, you can think you can have something better and you're out of love until you go out there and start dealing with somebody else and realizing the two most things that you need to make your marriage or your relationship work. It's going to be hard as hell for you to find, whatever it is. whatever it is. It can be 2 things that you need that only 5 people in this world can have, and you let one of them go. So, and then you start, now you going back to your studies. Mm-hmm. So I think that has a lot to do with people changing their mentality too as well, mm-hmm. because maybe some of those people couldn't go back and try to fix it. And now they're like, oh, forget it. Mm-hmm. And just gave up.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say that on camera. Somebody we know mm-hmm. haven't been, from what you told me, in a relationship forever because what happened, it got destroyed. Like, this is like, oh, forget it.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they're a great person.
Right.
And it's just like, I'm not going to continuously put my heart out there. Mm-hmm. So your views of love change as well.
Right. Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that she still wants love, but she's just not willing to risk it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's I don't know. Love is beautiful. Love is ugly. Love is wonderful. Love is terrible. And the only terrible parts I can tell you that I think about love is the heartache, right? And the heartbreak mm-hmm. that comes with it if things doesn't work. Mm-hmm. That's the only ugly part about it that I will say. Mm-hmm. It's like I told Isis, what was it, Wednesday, yesterday?
Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah, you do. And matter of fact, I hope I wasn't being offensive. I just was talking. Mm-mm. Yeah, it's things that you expect out of me that's frustrating for me, mm-hmm. but I have to try to do it because I love you. Mm-hmm. Things that I would never do on my own if I was living by myself in another relationship, I would never do. But because I love you and I'm in love with you, to me, the love that I have for you says that I have to. Mm-hmm. Not that you're making me, mm-hmm. but I have to, mm-hmm. right? Even if I fail at it, I have to try,
right?
Because it's gonna bring you joy and happiness, mm-hmm. right? So I don't know. Love is one. I appreciate trying to love you correctly, and I'm talking to you like I ain't even on this thing. I appreciate, because I actually forgot I was really mm-hmm. trying to love you correctly in the, I don't want to say struggle. What would be a more appropriate word? And the steps that it takes going into that, I appreciate the growing pains in trying to love you correctly, because it feels good. I could do 96 things wrong, and the one time I do something right and I make you smile, to me, and you know how I feel about me doing something and then messing with me because I failed at it. But in that case, the one time that I do something to make you smile and I know for a fact that it makes you happy, it corrects everything else. And it can be struggles like even the kid. You really think I wanted to go in the kitchen and do that shit today? You know what I was getting, what I was going to. If you would have said that, what I was going to do? Turn that damn game on. And because of the conversation we had yesterday in counseling, I said, you know what? Let me do that. That's going to make her happy. And you've been smiling ever since. And it was nothing. Right? It took me 10 minutes, 5 minutes. So that's what I'm talking about. That what we as men do a lot. And I don't know if we've come around to it, but the little things mm-hmm. We don't do. And the little things, and it's an old saying, the little things are the big things.
Right.
You know, you can go out here, a man go out and buy a woman with morals, everything in the world. Mm-hmm. And all she want him to do is say, I love you.
Yeah.
Or hug her, or touch her, or buy her flowers. Mm-hmm. But you done went and bought a Bugatti and 20 mansions and all of that, and all she wants is her husband, or her boyfriend, or whatever it is. Yeah. And the little things, which again, when you love somebody, you know these things.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And then the other thing, when you're talking about love, and this is going to what we were just talking about, too, is that most of the people who didn't, this is very interesting. The people that didn't marry their first love, of those people who didn't marry their first love, 40% said they wish they had.
I wish I married mine.
The divorce rate for couples who marry their first love is significantly lower than for those who do not. And when they're saying their first love, my assumption is that these people know what love is, right? So like a lot of times we'll say this is our first love, but
we in high school.
Yeah, you wasn't really crushing. It was a crush. It wasn't really like you in love.
Technically, then that means you're my first. Yeah, technically you'll be my first love because it was only to you till I understood
love.
Yeah. I would. Well, you already know who I thought that I said that. I thought I was gonna marry or whatever. But then when I think about it, maybe if I would have understood what love was, then maybe I would have. So I don't know if I probably loved her, but I wasn't at the step of being in love to do everything else that makes a relationship. Yeah. So technically, you're my first love, baby.
Oh, see, the divorce rate for you who first loves are significantly lower.
Unless you stop feeding me, you know I add to the divorce rate.
The couples who bury their first love are more likely to report higher levels of satisfaction and commitment to their relationship. First time marriages. Now, I've always known this, where they said first time marriages are more likely to last longer than subsequent marriages, and I think that's because if a lot of them are marrying their first love, right? Then that would probably be why. Like these people who were people who probably understood what love was when they got into it and was ready to go through the ebbs and flows of happiness and those type of things. But
I wonder at what age do people understand that though?
What, love?
Well, that is ebbs and flows with relationships. Like what age, especially with men, what age are we capable of grasping that concept? Well, even women too, because I don't think that women will be in the same situation. I don't think that all women are ready for marriage. So I just wonder what age or when in life do you realize that? That's interesting, because if you would have never said that to me, and then it was reinforced 2 other times, and I would have never known that. And I'm 40, whatever I am.
Right. But look, though, it may not be as old as you think, because if the people who married their first love, their marriages last longer, right? 60% of people, they said, actually married their first love. But check this out. The age range of people most likely to marry their first love is between 20 and 24.
I think that's not mine.
20 and 24. You know what
I'm saying.
I'm just saying, like that's those statistics though are some dang on.
I think that's the same people that they interview for the Family Feud survey.
You know what?
I don't, because 20 and 24. I will say I do believe women are ready for marriage way sooner than men. Now I will say that. However, even Malachi. Let's talk about Malachi. He's 23, 2, 4. Yeah, him and Jermaine saying. Yeah. So he's 24. You really think Malachi ready for marriage?
No, but on the other hand, I think Kyrie is.
Good point. That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Kyrie is the 22-year-old. Just turned 20. Yeah. He's the 22-year-old, our 22-year-old son, and he is so. His demeanor, his husband, his husband,
and I'm talking about like older husband. I'm talking about like 40-year-old husband.
It really is. Like he's not only do he do like he does chores and everything, but like he is his. I don't even know how to describe it, but you can tell like he is just like traditional husband material. Like he just is, and so. It could be like more people, like him that they're referring to.
That's something else too. That's really interesting because we have so many different personalities and dynamics of life in the house that you can see. That's basically all come from you, and I'm just sitting here thinking about it now, like how everybody is so different, but they came from the same 2 people.
Right.
Like what makes your personalities develop, or because all these circumstances is basically the same.
Right.
So
that's true.
Oh, wait, that's a whole nother topic.
They're very interesting. So This another. I just want to point out this other statistics. Unhappy couples. We just talking about happiness. Unhappy couples are still hot for each other. 57% of those in unhappy relationships still find their partner extremely attractive.
I just think that I don't even know how that works. I think that's because if you're mad at people, you know how they always talk about
the ebbs and flow, but the ebbs and flow of happiness, right? So them people, maybe somewhere in their mind, realize that you can be unhappy, and don't mean you don't love a person.
Nah, I just think that's a sex thing.
Really?
Yeah, because when you arguing a lot, so they say, I ain't that type of person. You know, if I'm mad, don't touch me. But I'm not. You don't want to say I'm mad. But I just think that's the because you mad at each other all the time. You probably just doing it all the time.
No, maybe
I bet they just paying up the club.
Maybe no, but their unhappiness could be coming from somewhere else. It may not have to do with whether or not they're attracted to their spouse, right? So the unhappiness could be coming from a different angle. For example, maybe somebody's unhappy because they're unhappy because their spouse is cheating. Don't mean they're not attracted to their spouse still.
Yeah, but it may be like, ooh, you so fine. I see why you cheating. Let me give you some. No, that's I see why you out there. Let me make sure I give you some more.
You know what?
Amen.
Now, here's one to take away, you all. 33% of men, 33% more men than women say that they have watched a TV show or movie that affected them so much that they considered breaking up. So y'all out there watching TV and saying, "Look, let me go break up. Y'all let me go divorce my wife."
They talking about women on that one.
No, they not. They talking about men.
No, in the hell, no.
They talking about men.
No.
Now listen, nearly 60% of both men and women who were unhappy with their relationship say they would still be happy to spend eternity with their partners.
60% of who?
Of men and women who said that even if they're unhappy or they're unhappy in a relationship, but they still want to spend eternity with their partner.
Well, I wonder what's the age group of that though, because all of that has to do with age groups as well. It has to, because I'm pretty sure that if you ask a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old that's been with somebody since 18 and the last 2 years has been rough, I'm pretty sure they're not gonna say that. I mean, I'm too young for this. I don't go out here, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't.
I don't know though, because remember in that show, we watched this show and it didn't end like I thought it should end. I thought it was kind of weird how it ended. What was it called? The one where the lady was married to the guy and she started fantasizing about the boyfriend and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that was.
But remember, I told you at the beginning of that movie, she said the exact same thing, that she was unhappy. But if she could spend eternity with her husband, the guy that she's with, and even if she could die and meet him again, that she would.
Yeah, no.
So that's just weird.
I don't believe nothing about that because she was fantasizing.
I know, but I'm just saying. A lot of people who saying the 60% of both men and women who say they're unhappy with relationships say they would still be happy to spend eternity with a partner. I think these are just people again who are realizing that hey, this may be a point of time that I'm unhappy. But whether or not I'm happy or whether or not I'm unhappy doesn't dictate whether or not I love my partner and I find joy with being with my partner, and whether or not I want to be with my partner. And it shouldn't. That happiness, the circumstantial, situational happiness, shouldn't be your determining factor as to whether or not you stay with your partner, because it's all circumstantial.
So then you asked me a question earlier. Should you get married for love? And my answer is absolutely yes. I can't see me. One of my homeboys, I told you this. One of my homeboys had asked me if she didn't have anything and lost everything, would I still want to be with her? And my answer then was yes, and my answer definitely is yes now. And it's just because, as I've told you, and I've said it here and I'll say it again. I'll say it all day long, every day, 365 days a year, 366 on a leap year, which is a leap year. The things that you have done for me, If somebody put $10 million, $10 billion, $10 trillion in my face and say, if you do it all over again, you can have this money and leave her, I really don't think that I can do it. And I'm not exaggerating, because you can have all that money and be just as miserable as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And if as what Luther song say, I'd rather have bad times with you than good times with someone else. But and that's real though. And I'm not saying that to put on for this crap or whatever. That's just real, because you literally saved my life. So you can give me $10 trillion, but I'm gonna die in a year. So is that worth it?
Right.
Oh,
right.
Now an ignorant person be like, oh, I'll spend all the money. I'll have fun in my year. Yeah, okay, well, that's if you want to die in a year, that's you. Right? Like, so I seen a thing on YouTube. The guy said, I can show you five things right now that's more important than money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, hey, you gonna show me 5 things more? He said, if I give you $1 billion,
mm-hmm.
Tell you I'll give you $1 billion a day, but you're not gonna wake up in the morning, would you take it? He said no. Mm-hmm. So life
is more important,
more important than money. And he said something else about time, and I think family. If you can lose your mother, if I give you $1 billion a day, but your mother don't have to, is not gonna wake up in the morning, mm-hmm. or something like that. Mm-hmm. Then the guy said, no, I wouldn't take it. He said, so family mm-hmm. is more important than money. So again, what I'm saying is, should you get married for love? In my opinion, that's the only thing to get married for.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I agree. Love is the greatest of things is love. You can't go. I mean, God said it is true. So
unless your wife starving you.
You're not starving. He ate today, y'all.
So
a couple of times. Yeah. So it's fine. All right. Well, that was it for tonight. Got some other stuff I gotta do.
I'm gonna play my game. Actually, I'm gonna do something else.
I was about to say.
What?
We need to do that thing. But Jermaine's birthday is Saturday. You hear one, so hey, happy birthday, baby.
Yeah, no.
Look how I agree you're here for no reason.
Because of you, I ain't have all the good for you. I had about 3 gray hairs for you. Why do I look like I got man titties?
What? Okay, bye. See, that's when I know it's time to get off, because Jermaine starts saying anything. So, all right.
No, look.
Have a good night.
I got man boobs.
Really? All right.
Okay.
Have a good night, everyone.
See, baby? It's a great chill.